Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. Mark again here, WeatherMan Plus. Now, we still have this tropical wave that's going towards the Western Caribbean and is still going to get together, according to the GFS, in between the 22nd and 23rd by the Western Caribbean, and then form for about 5 to 6 days in the latest run this morning, going through the Gulf and coming on shore for our Memorial Day weekend. So what I'm going to do today is show you all the data that I found for you, including multiple models, not just the GFS. I want you to get a good grasp on what's going on. This is a very important weekend. It's very close to my heart. Matter of fact, my whole family was in the military. I was 11 bang bang myself, mechanized infantry, and we were always trained to protect those that can't protect themselves. Matter of fact, if you ever wondered what these were on my neck, these are scars from my battle buddy. In the Army, you get a battle buddy. We're not like the Marines where you're just one-man show. But he didn't cant his weapon down, and all the brass from shooting his weapon went into my neck and just sizzled down. So a lot of people gave to the military. A lot of people died in the military. And that's what Memorial Day is about, is honoring those that lost their lives during the military in these wars. And we must always remember and honor our fallen soldiers, men and women out there, because without them fighting for our freedoms, we wouldn't have what we have today, what we do have, and have our freedoms to enjoy and be with our loved ones every day. And the most important thing to remember is all gave some, but some gave all, and we need to honor them. So I'm going to let you know exactly what's going on and whether it's a good idea to travel, not only the severe weather aspect of it, that's a different story, but whether it's a good idea to travel with this potential hurricane in the Gulf going into our country for the Memorial Day weekend. And in my opinion, I would say yes. Good morning to every single one of you. Hope you really have a great day today. Make sure you subscribe. I am all year long. And please help get this information out. Please wait until I show you the information. That way you see it is worthy to you give your like, to give your share, to give a little comment just to say hi. I will say hi back. But that's how the YouTube algorithm works. If somebody clicks on a video, they hit like, they hit share, and they even comment. But a YouTube algorithm goes by that and it always says, hey, maybe we should suggest this video because this person liked it, shared it, even commented or subscribed. And the more of you that do this, the more it's going to get a higher chance of getting recommended on the homepage for YouTube. Remember, all the timestamps are in the description to always save you time. God bless every single one of you. Hope you have a very great day today. Now, this is our view of what we have. We still have that trough coming in, and it is still giving a lot of shear in the Western Caribbean. And this is where we're looking at this morning. We still have this energy over Central America, and we still have our wave making its way into the Caribbean, and it's still going to group up with this area. Matter of fact, I do believe that National Hurricane Center will start to put out any time now a potential area of watch in all of this region because of the information that I see this morning. I do believe we will see one of these very shortly. But this is how we're looking this morning, and all this tropical moisture is moving across land. And as we all know, as it continues to move across all this land, it's going to be very hard for it to form and get some cyclonic rotation. In upper levels, yes, but to go all the way to the ground and form a tropical storm or a tropical hurricane, it is very hard, especially when it's over land. When it gets into water, that's when it's going to do something. But as of early this morning, 8 o'clock, there is no tropical cyclones expected within the next 5 days. But I do expect an outlook to come any day now. In our update with National Hurricane as of this morning, the outlook, the tropical wave is moving west 15 knots, but it's located in the Eastern Caribbean Sea along 72 west, south of 16 north, moving west at 15 to 20 knots still. This position corresponds with an area of enhanced moisture seen on total precipitable water imagery, just like I just showed you. No significant shower or thunderstorm activity is evident near the tropical wave axis over the Caribbean. And just in the last 24 to 36 hours, it has been showing a lot of crazy activity and a lot of changes. Before that, it's been trending for a week to almost 2 weeks that this is going towards Florida. I'm going to show you everything I have. And I will show you the 6Z that has popped up for this morning. But first, let me show you from the 0Z. And like I said yesterday, Matter of fact, all the time. You can ask any meteorologist out there, 0Z and the 12Z is the best time to get the weather data because that's when they put up all their balloons and get the best data. Now, according to our ensemble members from the GEFS, you can see that it is expected for this to form up some kind of rotation, some kind of low pressure over by Central America. And as we keep going forward, you can see it has the probabilities that it will form up by the Western Caribbean by the 23rd. And according to the GEFS, it is expected to move into the Caribbean and form up and still go towards Florida, no matter what you've seen in the last 36 hours. Now here's the ensemble members coming from the Euro. And you can see also that it's expected to form up by the 19th, somewhere by Central America around the same area. Except the Euro is showing that the probabilities will still travel over land. That's why it's taken so long to form. And it could be somewhere over the Bay of Campeche sometime around the 22nd. A little bit further to the west than what the GEFS probabilities are showing. And I will show you why. We have new information on this dust as well. And as you keep going forward, you see that the probabilities, according to the Euro, shows it will go to the Pacific side and form up some kind of pressure system by the 24th and the 25th, possibly forming. It could go either way. It does show this also on another model, but most of the ensembles do show that the majority of it shows it will go into the Pacific rather than to the Gulf of Mexico as you keep going forward. So that's the difference between the Euro and the GFS. The GFS shows that it has more probability to go into the Gulf. The Euro shows it has more probability to stay over land and go into the Pacific. Now the 12Z from the Euro shows that this had a good chance to go over land still and still form up in the Bay of Campeche, a low pressure system by the 23rd and possibly strengthening up before it takes a southern dive and goes back overland into the Pacific. So there is a little bit of difference between the Euro as well. And you can see that here with the 0Z. The next weather data that they get from the balloons, remember, it's 12Z and 0Z. And the latest one of the Euro shows that it does not form up that low pressure system. It stays a little more to the south and it forms up something weak in the Pacific. Matter of fact, the GEM model, the CMC, shows almost the same thing, that there is a good chance to form up a cyclone right below the Bay of Campeche on the Pacific side and form up the system there. Now there is other models that is against each other, like the GFS and the Euro. The Icon model shows that this precipitation will go into the Gulf and you will get your tropical wave. That's what these little curves are right here. This is your very disorganized tropical wave. And it does get a lower pressure system in the Bay of Campeche, just like the Euro did show as well. But as you notice, and as everybody knows, all this wind shear pushed all the precipitation away from the center. That would stop it from forming. And the icon shows that it would just be a group of disorganized thunderstorms. Once again, you can see the curve here of the wave. A very weak wave moving through the Gulf of Mexico, just bringing some rainfall. Now, as you look at the 850 millibar vorticity and the irrotational winds, you can see that no matter what, according to both models, that they do agree it will be somewhere around here. And you can see with the wind directions that there is multiple directions that this can go. It can go west, it can go northwest, or it can go west, northwest. So there's multiple options where this could go. And the GFS model shows that it will take that northern track rather than that southwestern track and form up there. But there's many factors that's coming along with it. Because remember, I showed you yesterday with that dust moving behind it. And if you look right here, you can see the big dust moving behind it with your precipitation trying to rotate and get together. The dust does get inside with it while it's trying to form up. Now, at the same time, this was what's going to keep it a little bit further south suppressed. And that update we had yesterday is that after it keeps it suppressed for a while, the dust takes that northern track, the high pressure moves to the east and pulls this dust northern, allows this to breathe towards the Yucatan. And you can see this here. This is your GOES NASA satellite. So it's not being contradictory to any weather model, but you can see a little bit of both in this itself. This is your big dust cloud that's moving through the Caribbean, and this is your precipitation where it's going to meet up by Thursday. Now, as it forms together, you can see it tries to form that surface low. The dust moves in, keeps it suppressed. But as it moves forward, the dust don't head northern too quickly, keeps it further suppressed, still over land, moving to the southwest corner of the Yucatan Peninsula. Then as you keep going, you can see the dust expands even more instead of moving northern, and it pushes it over the Yucatan to where it would be forming up the surface low over here. But still, it does take that northern turn, and as you can see, it is very slight and small. But as it takes that northern turn and dissipates with this dust, you still get some cyclonic flow right here in the Bay of Campeche, and it still heads northern. It's very weak, but you still see a signature of it. And you can see this from your 850 millibar winds. You have your winds moving from the east to the west, and this is where your big plume of dust is, trampling over this surface low, and this is according to the GFS. And as it goes forward, you can see it still lifts up, and it don't affect that storm too much. It dissipates it, it elongates it, it don't have a surface low, but now the winds are going from the southeast to the northwest, and that's what's lifting up this precipitation, giving it the chance to form over here by the Yucatan. And as you keep going, you see it continues to push it west. Now, Euro is always a play it safe model. GFS is always a little bullish model. So as you continue to see that it still forms up according to the GFS, that it will not affect it too much. It will keep it weak. But once it gets into the Gulf of Mexico and gets away from that dust over by the western side of the Gulf of Mexico, closer towards the Bay of Campeche, then it starts to strengthen up. And this is what you saw early this morning, that it takes 5 to 6 days to go on land. Even the 6Z from the GFS shows the same thing. A little bit different direction, a little bit different area, but it still heads towards the north. Now the Euro still shows the same thing. It's going from the east to the west with the winds and the big plume of dust. But it shows that it's so thick, like I just showed you with the NASA satellite, that it keeps it compressed back. And all this precipitation stays to the western Gulf. It stays off of the surface low, so it's not able to get a bunch of thunderstorms and intensify. And as it moves forward, you see it all pushed to the west, southwest, and not able to form. But also, just like we saw on the NASA satellite, this dust does move further north, and there is a moment where it can breathe in the western Gulf of Mexico. Because the GEM model, the CMC, shows the exact same thing, that it does get compressed by this dust, which is a big high pressure, and it tries to go to the western of the Caribbean by the Bay of Campeche. But at the same time, it shows it getting a little bit stronger and still trying to form up on the Pacific side as a surface low. And the icon model shows that as well. It goes to the west. Matter of fact, it shows it stays a upper level low while it passes by Central American Gyre. And then when it gets towards the Gulf of Mexico, it shows that that dust does move just like we've seen on NASA satellite. And eventually you still get your tropical wave with a surface low. And you can see it right there. You have an upper level low and you still get your tropical wave in the Gulf. And if you go just by the rainfall totals amount just in the next 10 days, the Euro shows that all this precipitation does head this direction. You see this right here, but that's not saying it will form back up and go towards Louisiana, because we actually have storms coming down at that time. And that's what this precipitation is from. It's not from this reforming in the Gulf. The Euro sees this staying suppressed. The GFS is still bullish, showing that it will be a lot of precipitation in the next 10 days as it makes its way into the Gulf. And the icon still shows that it will be weak, but it still shows what we've been seeing for the last almost 2 weeks, that it will still be going towards Florida. Now, when you look at the update on a potential velocity anomaly, which lets us know when we have a strong system in our area, 120 west is our west coast, 60 west is the east coast, and all the way to 0 is coming off of Africa, our MDR, our main development region, where these hurricanes come from. And you still see we do have something expected in the beginning of June according to the GFS. But at the same time, you can see this big anomaly that we've been following for a long time, and you see how strong it is. But at the same time, if you look at it, we're hitting this now, and it's going all the way to the 20th. It's not showing it past the 20th. Matter of fact, it's showing a lot of sinking air that's going to be in our region, which means that that dust is going to be in the way and nothing can form in the 20s. That's what just represents now. And for the GFS to be correct, for this to fight through the temperatures, to fight through the wind shear, and fight through all this dust, this picture would need to be down here. And instead of rising air, we have sinking air in our section. You can also see this with the update from the Euro. We still have all this going on now, but this is going all the way to the 20th, guys. And this isn't forming up to the Western Caribbean till the 22nd or 23rd. And now that we have all this data that's come out this morning, we can be even more accurate. From the 22nd all the way to the 27th, we have sinking air in our section, 120 west to 60W. We have sinking air when we should be having this hurricane according to the GFS. Also, after that, Euro is seeing that we are going to be going into our hurricane season big time after that, especially as we go towards the end of May, the beginning of June, just like GFS sees as well. A lot of rising air in our section all along after this dust passes through. And you can see this when you look at cyclonic vorticity as we keep going on. This is according to the GFS, guys. As we go all the way towards the 19th and 20th, we get some cyclonic vorticity in that section, but it's not as strong as what we've been seeing in our anomaly for quite some time. Matter of fact, you can see it over here over our country and all that severe weather that everybody's been talking about that is coming as well. And that's all the way to the 20th. So, matter of fact, this is what the anomaly sees. It's not the hurricane, because a hurricane, according to GFS, don't form up until later. And we all know that later that we're going to be having all this sinking air in our region, not rising air. So the vorticity does not show true according to the data. Matter of fact, on the 19th, you do have a probability of severe weather happening. And on the 20th, your severe weather risk is expanding as this cold front comes down, meets up with these warm temperatures, and that clash will help this form up and become a big severe weather event. And that's all the way to the 20th, where we've been seeing our potential velocity anomaly. And you can see this as we look at the northern hemisphere. This is a 6Z from this morning for the GFS, that we have this storm building up, this potential velocity anomaly in our country. And as we go towards the 20th, it's when it gets its strongest. And that's what is being picked up for so long by the GFS. Even though we have tropical waves, we have sinking air in the Caribbean, guys. And as it keeps on going, you can see it does bring severe weather all the way to the 20th. Then it dissipates a little bit. We get our cold front coming in, brings that cooler air. But that's about it. There's no more rise in motion. There's no more velocity potential popping up over our country in all the 20s. Even though GFS is still bullish and says that it will form up and still get into our Gulf and sit there for days and strengthen up. And that's going to be hard to believe, not only with the sinking air that's going to be in the area, but all the wind shear that's going to be going against this system. And it's barely 80 degrees, so it's barely strong enough to maintain a tropical system. You have to have 80 degrees just to sustain itself. And for it to say it goes through all this shear and just bullishly strengthen up is a little unbelievable at this point. Now that we see all the model data from multiple models, we can see what the trend truly is. And as you look with the Euro, you can see also that this system, we get some severe weather next day or two. But you can also see this system does form up all the way to the 20th. And we get a lot of potential velocity in our direction. At this point, you don't see any system in the Gulf. So it's not going to be the energy going towards that wave. This is going towards the severe weather event that we do have coming in our U.S. And as you look at your sea surface temperatures as of early yesterday morning, it is barely sustaining 80 degrees in a lot of places in the Gulf of Mexico. All this right here in this lighter red, it is like 78 degrees, so it would weaken down before it reaches this. Now this dark red section here for the Western Caribbean and a section of the Gulf, as well as the Western Bay of Campeche and the southern half of the Bay of Campeche. This is where it's really warm. This is why GFS is showing it could go this direction, stay with these warm temperatures, and form up, as well as the icon model. And this is why the Ural says it has a chance to form up in the southern half of the Bay of Campeche, because the waters are really warm down there as well. But in all this 80 degrees, it would have to have no wind shear to sustain itself, because it's barely reaching the minimum, the 80 degrees. So as you look at your wind shear, you can see your system tries to form up. There's a lot of winds coming from the west to the east, and this red is very fierce winds, very strong. Nothing could really survive in that. But yet the GFS takes its bullishness and it goes up and says no matter what, it still could go through all that shear and strengthen up at the same time. Look at this. Very strong wind shear going against this system. Still it says no matter what, it will still strengthen up to something ridiculous coming to the Gulf of Mexico. But as we look at our 30 perturbed members, which lets us know what's the potential for this system to form. You can see as we go into May 21st, right here at 108 hours, the things start to form up on these members, showing that this system could still form up and be a thing. Even get strong and still go into our Gulf, and a few of them still. But if you look at this one, this is our controlled member. Remember, this is the one that shows you the most likely outcome of all these members. Literally by the 19th, we get an upper level low that does move towards the Central American gyre. Stays weak not only from the dust, but it's also going over land where it cannot form up. As it moves towards the Western Caribbean, it tries to form an upper level low again on the 21st, but it just cannot, because not only the dust suppressing it west, southwest now that we can see further on that satellite, it goes over land. Then it tries to go towards the Bay of Campeche and tries to form up some kind of low pressure system. But it does still try to form up a surface low right by the Western Caribbean on the 23rd, and it goes over land again. And once again, this will hurt this system, not only with the shear, but it's going over land and getting ripped apart to where it can't stay together. Now, the update with the members is by the 28th, as we go into our Memorial Day weekend, we could get a upper level low in the Gulf of Mexico, and it will start to head north, stay weak as just a group of disorganized thunderstorms by the 29th, and by the time you get towards Memorial Day weekend, it dissipates, just bringing a lot of rainfall. And that is a more than likely outcome that we have of this morning, not what you see in all these runs. Even when you look at the SpaghettiOs from the Ural, which is the same thing, you can see that it does expect it to form up something by Western Caribbean by the time you get to the 21st, 108 hours away. Go over land, get into the Bay of Campeche, the Western Gulf, and that's where it has its chance to become still a system that could head northern by the 25th or a little bit sooner. It's not really confident because it still has these down here that could form also in the Pacific. So there is possibility still for this to come in. But as the data I see, the potential velocity anomaly is the main one on both of them. We can see that we do have a rise in air motion of some cyclonic vorticity moving around. That is our severe weather event. That red that you've seen right below that is showing that all this sinking air will be in our area when this is supposed to be doing what this is showing now, which is not possible. Matter of fact, if you look at the Ural to see what the chances are for just a tropical depression in 4 days, 96 hours, the majority says it will be right here going right against Nicaragua. But as it goes forward, you can see that that change that it has for either north or south, that it takes more of the south turn into the Pacific, guys. So I really believe that as these model runs catch up to the data that it's showing, that we will stop seeing this more and more. Just like we saw yesterday, a great weakening. Matter of fact, the moisture was sheared off from its surface low and it just killed this storm almost completely. I think we will see more of that coming through with these runs. I will update my community page of the 12Z, of the Ural, and the GFS today. So make sure you check that out. But as of the data I see now, no matter what this says right here, I believe it is safe other than the severe weather aspect, which we do need to go through, because that is going to hinder your traveling and what you need to work around, because it is bringing winds, it is bringing chances for tornadoes and hail, like you see there. But as of that, as far as the Caribbean goes, in the tropics, nothing is expected to form as of the information I see. So it is very safe, according to the Caribbean, to go show respect and show love to your loved ones of the fallen soldiers that are out there. But of the severe weather aspect, that is the one thing that will be hindering you during that time. So I will make a video on that tomorrow. But as always, like I said yesterday, God is our steering wheel. He is not our spare tire. Let's give love to our Lord, our Father in heaven. Amen. Psalm 62. Truly my soul waiteth upon God. From him cometh my salvation. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be greatly moved. How long will ye imagine mischief against a man? Ye shall be slain, all of you. As a bowing wall shall ye be, and as a tottering fence. They only consult to cast him down from his excellency. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. Selah. My soul, wait thou only upon God, for my expectation is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense. I shall not be moved. In God is my salvation and my glory. The rock of my strength and my refuge is in God. Trust in him at all times, ye people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us. Selah. Surely men of low degree are vanity, and men of high degree are a lie. To be laid in the balance, they are altogether lighter than vanity. Trust not in oppression, and become not vain in robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart upon them. God hath spoken once. Twice have I heard this, that power belongeth unto God. Also unto thee, O Lord, belongeth mercy. For thou renderest to every man according to his work. Amen. And if you've never been here before, Selah means think about what you just heard, because it is very important. God bless you all. May you all be in peace today. I will do a severe weather forecast for tomorrow so we can see how this travel conditions are looking. Please show respect. Please go show love to your fallen men and women that has fought for our freedom. All glory, all power, all honor does go to Yahweh, God of Jacob, our Father in heaven. Amen. Hallelujah. Have a very great Tuesday. I hope this has helped you.